down here at the old mill. We had our museum there. Any of you remember the old mill museum?
My mother talked about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see a few white hairs here. So that was the focal point for the nature education program. So I was there most of the time, and people would come in, and I got to meet and talk to a lot of people. But more and more people were saying, we had these Sunday afternoon walks that anybody could come to, open to the public. And I said, well, no. I said they were discontinued in '54, and I said lack of interest, lack of support. Nobody showed up. So the superintendent decided just to call it quits. So as time went on, more and more people inquired. So I went to him, and I said, Mr. Davies, I said, could I start up the Sunday afternoon nature walk, the public one? And he was sitting at his desk there, and he said, well, I thought about it a minute. He said, yeah, go ahead, Bill. He said, why don't you try? Let's see what happens. And he had a few caveats that went along with that permission. And I'll tell you what they are in just a second. But while I was with him, he wrote up an announcement with a pen and with handwritten for the Vindicator, announcing the reinstatement of the afternoon public walks. And this was about a little more than a week before I wanted to start them. So, and one of the girls at the office typed it up, and it was sent in to Esther Hamilton. You remember Esther Hamilton? And she saw that it got printed. But anyway, we sat down, we made out a schedule, and sent that in with the announcement. First month schedule, just for all the rest of September and all of October. And let me just go over this very brief. This is the actual article. It was in the Vindicator on September 18th of '66. Mill Creek Park to begin series of hikes, September 25. Okay, that's today, isn't it? I won't read the whole thing here. A new series of public walks through Mill Creek Park will begin Sunday, September 25, continuing each Sunday through the fall, conducted by, and this is my name and so forth. The hikers will assemble at the Old Mill at 2:30 p.m. I set them for 2:30, and I don't know what, arbitrarily, we changed it later. Each Sunday, then drive to a designated area. We don't do that anymore. The length of the walk will be restricted to less than 2 miles and continue until 4:30. I always call it 2 miles or under a walk, over 2 miles a hike. Again, that was just purely arbitrary, and I was the arbiter. Sunday, the hikers will walk along Landerman Gorge. The following schedule will be observed through October. October 2, the Fellows Riverside Gardens and the Old Log Cabin. I had to come up with a title, a theme for each walk, and then try to stick to it if I could as much as possible during the walk. The Fellows Riverside Gardens and the Old Log Cabin. October 9, Pioneer Pavilion and the Old Furnace. October 16, Lily Pond area. October 23rd, the Edith Kaufman Quarry Garden, and October 30, Hitchcock Woods. In case of rain, walks will be canceled. The walks we don't do. I very quickly learned I never ever would cancel a walk, ever. I don't care whether fire, flood, or blood. I said, we're going to have a walk if anybody shows up. I'll be there. Right? If nobody shows up, then you can take the walk yourself if you want. But I learned that from Bert Szabo, who was the naturalist at active Metropolitan Parks then. And I said, that's a good idea. If we were getting calls, it's going to rain, or it's snowing, and it was a winter hike, and it's going to snow, you going to have your walk today?
It's a winter hike.
Winter hike. So I learned very quickly, thanks to Bert, that when you schedule a hike, you have a hike. If nobody shows up, Bert says he took them himself. He'd walk the trail he was planning to take with the group all by himself. So anyway, so that's not in existence anymore. I don't think. I'm not here anymore. The walks are being held to acquaint persons of the area with the park and the many educational and recreational facilities. Each hike will highlight a point of interest with emphasis on the history I should have said human history, or Mr. Davies should, and natural history of the area. The naturalist recommends that hikers may wish to bring a notebook, pencil, and binoculars, that camera, and magnifying. Stupid. Okay, I want to wrap this up here. The other day I got my 1966 diary off my bookshelf. I dusted it off. It's falling apart already. And the older ones are even falling apart. I turned the page for Sunday, September 25, 1966. 2:30 to 4:30. Today it's, of course, what, 2 to 4. Well, that's 2:30, yeah. Public Nature Walk number 1. You know what the attendance, how many do we have here today, Josh?
Head count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Count me as 12.
Okay. Remember, you wish you would have been here the first one.
Get more than 12, I'm gonna guess.
Well, yeah, you'll see in a minute. This will floor you. I scheduled that one to meet down at the mill. That was the nature center then, see. And we had the parking lot in then. This was put in sometime after I started. I don't remember what year it was. To meet down there in the mill, and I was going to have a tour of the mill, open up the other floors to the public. Remember, there was no grist mill there. There was no machinery. That was just a shell of a building, except for our museum room. And they made special arrangements for people to go up the steps and everything, going to the 3rd floor. And we had it all ready for the people. And so I was down there, of course, in the morning, and I was waiting for people to come. And all of a sudden, I saw through the window of the mill. I was standing back here where my desk was, looking out the window, and you see the stone steps coming down the hill there. And I saw feet coming down. You can see from the waist above. And I saw feet after feet after feet after feet. And then finally they came down and came up onto the porch into the old mill. Well, to make a long story short, in a matter of a few minutes, the mill was so full of people, nobody could get in the door. I mean, I'm not joking. Literally. And people were still coming down the hill. And I almost pushed the panic button, but I didn't. I thought, what are you going to do? To make a long story short, again, I never did get a count. You couldn't count.
Right.
I would estimate 300 or 500 people total who wanted to come. Well, I finally, when we left the mill to come down for our gorge walk on the East Trail, we're going to go down the East Trail to the Suspension Bridge, cross over where Witch's Cave is and all that stuff, and then come back on the West Gorge and around. There was no covered bridge there then. We had to go to the Saddle Bridge and come back. That was my loop for the day. So when I got on a convenient place on the trail, I made a kind of rough count, had somebody else count too. And I settled with 150 on the trail. But I think, I have it here, 150 to 200, probably, somewhere in there. Now, what do you do? Well, anyway, we got through it. The next walk was October 2nd. We had, by that time I wised up. I scheduled 2 walks for the afternoon, back to back, in tandem. And I thought, well, hopefully, maybe roughly, all the people who plan to come that afternoon, half will come on the first and half will come on the second, or approximately. Well, it did work out pretty good from then on, as long as we did that. Because on October 2, we had 65 on the first and 125 on the second, totaling 190. The first walk was 1:30 to 3:30, and then the next one was 3:30 to 5:30. I later changed that to 1:30 to 3, made them an hour and a half, and then had a half-hour break in there, and then started the next one,
Right, definitely
and had it to 2:30 to 5, or whatever, right? I mean, whatever, 1:30 to 3, 3:30 to 5.
Right.
So 2 hour-and-a-half walks to get them done by 5. Made changes all along the way, you know how you do. October 9th, we had 100 plus 150 equaling 250. October 16th, we had 60 plus 35 equaling 95 total. October 23rd, we have 90 plus 62 totaling 152. And October 30th, we had 140 plus 45, which would make 185 students.
And how many years did you work with the park?
As a park employee, as a natural, 33.
33 years.
But then when I retired, I became a park volunteer naturalist, put in another 30.
Nice.
So 63 total as of last year.
Majority.
I'm going for 65, but
You only do so much in
yeah,
one life,
well,
right?
yeah. The spirit's willing, but the flesh is weak, I guess.
Well, I know we all appreciate all the hard work you did for this park, and you know, it
was
seems
fun.
like you got it going,
It was fun.
and the interest is still there, obviously.
It was fun. But I think the significance of the day, Josh, for you and
Oh,
you
no,
guys
thank you
is
so
that-
much for coming
well,
out.
Is the fact that this is today, this very day, which is on a Sunday as it was then, in 1960, is the 50th anniversary of what you're doing now on the trail. You're going to be on the same, I assume, same trail back here?
Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to because we got access blocked off. They're working on the bridge underneath, and there's a boardwalk out on the other side of the trail, so it's really tough. Different scenario.
But you have planned the same.
Oh, I definitely got a plan. Yeah.
So what he was going to do with you folks today was the same thing we did exactly 50 years ago. So, you know, that nutshell that naturalists like to mention, that's the story. But there's so many things, other things that went on, you know, and we made changes all along the way. A lot of interesting people used to come on those walks. We had, oh my, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was
Definitely.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And well, you guys have a good walk.
Thank you so much again, Bill, for coming
Thank
out.
you.
You're very welcome.